Hey everybody, Tom here with Hidden Beats, and today we are back talking with Mr. Dio Gibson. How are you doing, sir?
Oh yeah, I'm doing great. How you been doing?
Pretty good. It's great to get to catch up with you again. I think last time we talked was like 8 months ago or something like that now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was a
Mhm.
good conversation.
Yeah, for sure. For those who are new though, we got to do our intro. Can you give a little bit of a spin about yourself?
I am Dio Gibson, two-time Guinness World Record-setting rapper. I set the world's longest freestyle rap for rapping for 8 hours and 45 minutes. I've done over 3,500. I think now it's about 3,700 performances in my career, and I'm really proud to say last week I was named as one of the outstanding top 20 outstanding black men in Canada by Shifter magazine.
Nice shifter. I actually know those guys well. I've worked with them a lot in
Yeah.
the past, so that's a pretty good call out there.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate outlets such as yourself because sometimes, as artists, we look for just recognition, and you don't want to just get it from a Juno Award or a Grammy Award. There's less and less of those, and so it's cool to get that feature and recognition for some of the work I've been doing.
And it also speaks to how well you're recognized in the community too.
Yeah, which I appreciate because I've been putting it down for over 20 years now, so it's nice that I'm still going strong and people are paying attention.
hmm So, I mean, we had, a summer and now we're in the winter. What, anything fun happened for you over those few months?
Yeah, I mean it's been nonstop being on the road, and what I always enjoy though, man, is going from coast to coast. And
Mm,
so, back in November, I was out in Nova Scotia, and I was doing a project for my new music video, which is coming out next month, called Freetown. And I was able to tell the story of Black Nova Scotians who came from fighting in the American Revolutionary War to settle in Nova Scotia, but then they went to Africa, to Sierra Leone. So it's always great going out to Nova Scotia. I'll be going in a couple of months for the Junos and seeing my man Maestro go into the Hall of Fame. But I had a great time out there. And then I just spent 2 weeks in Western Canada in British Columbia touring there, and now back in Toronto. So it's
hmm
on and popping.
Always having some fun stuff going on.
Oh, always, yeah, I think you got to enjoy it. I don't see enough artists really enjoy the journey. You
Mhm.
always hear about you've got to enjoy the journey, but I think when you've been doing it a long time, that becomes even more important. You know, like for instance, last Saturday night, my boys were in town. They were doing a concert. They're more of like a rock group, but when we came back to my house afterwards, we were doing the same thing we used to do back in the day when we were 16. We were putting on beats and kicking freestyles till like three
Nice.
o'clock in the morning. And, it's those times that just make me realize like how much I love hip hop and just, and even when I just came and did a feature at the show, just one song, just when they gave me the mic and it's no, yeah. It's like, let's go
Yeah.
right into it. So I just enjoy still having a passion for it.
Yeah, that's a blast. And it's nice to see that. And, when you get to get on that stage and see some of those enjoyable moments, it makes everyone's like a little bit better.
1,000%, and, especially, with the winter weather that we're having here in Canada this year, it's cold and now it's dreary, but it's kind of been that way. So it's nice when you go out and people have a big smile on their face because of the music.
Yeah, and it's nice because now there's some shows starting to come back up from the Christmas holidays, and everyone's starting to get
Exactly.
a little bit more active, which is great.
Yeah. Got to be active.
Now, one of the things we're here today to talk about is some new music you got coming out, Songs of
Yeah.
Freedom. Can you give me a little kind of a story behind that?
It really started when I was working on a song called Redemption Song. And ironically, we did that 1 year ago today. I still remember going to the studio in Hamilton with my man Slack of the Beach out and putting that down. And what that song was is just a remake of Bob Marley's Redemption Song, but we did it in a Fugees kind of way because I always loved the Fugees when I was a teenager, and it helped me learn more about Bob Marley. I knew who Bob Marley was, but that got me into it a little bit more. So there's one line in that song where he says, "These songs of freedom," and I'd been working on material for Black History Month, and I was just like, "Well, that's a perfect way to put these songs together." Is just by calling it songs of freedom because I love being able to do like just regular hip hop records. But
Hmm.
I also like being able to put a message in there. So, like I referred to, one of the songs is called Freetown, and that's the story of blacks going from Nova Scotia to Africa. And I thought, that song, Redemption Song, I got a song called It Feels Good to Be Black. And
Hmm.
so I said all these together, those are my songs of freedom.
For sure. Now, how did you go about getting a Moy to jump on that on the Redemption song with you?
Amoy's been a good friend of mine for years now. And the one time we really connected, we were in Los Angeles and I was doing a Grammy event. I used to put on events during Grammy weekend, mixer parties with performances. And so we were on the same flight together and she got to her Airbnb and she didn't really like her Airbnb. And I happened to have a house there. A few of my friends were staying with me, a nice Airbnb rental. And she ended up coming and staying at our house. I gave her
Nice.
my bedroom. And so we just really became friends from that point. And it's great to collaborate with artists, but it's also cool when they're your friend kind of
Hmm.
first. So it's kind of like an excuse to hang out when you're in the studio together. And so when we were doing this song and how are you going to recreate the iconic sound of Bob Marley?
Yeah.
It's difficult to do as a man because you're just going to get compared to Bob, right? So I thought, you know what? It's going to be cool if we put a female artist on it. And just a full circle moment for me is um, I used to go to MIDEM, which is the world's biggest music conference. It takes place in Cannes, France. And they shut down a few years ago. They just brought it back right now. But
Hmm.
from going there, I met a woman named Kathy Hahn, and she works in the Canadian music business. And she helped me out with so many things in my career. But I didn't realize for a few years of working with her that she worked very closely with Bob Marley
Okay.
because he broke in Canada first. So it's funny when you Google her name and Bob Marley, you see all these pictures of them together with like gold plaques and hanging out. And so I also had to talk to her because she knew Bob.
Hmm.
So I kind of wanted to get her blessing. And she knew Amoy and she just said, if you can pull that one off and get her on the track, it's going to be a good call. So I'm glad she said yes. And boy, did she deliver.
It works, man. I was listening to it before the interview and I went, oh, like,
Oh,
okay, like, yeah, this is it.
mm, thank you.
Hmm. Now, how does putting together something like you said you love to put, some thoughts into some tracks and then sometimes you like the hip hop tracks. How does putting together each of them differ for you? Like when you're putting together just a solid, banger hip hop song compared
Mm,
to like appreciate you, like we talked about last time.
yeah, yeah. I like that question because I think at the end of the day, it's got to be fun.
Mhm.
Like I grew up though loving like KRS-One. And I was reading about some of his lyrics in Common's new book, and he was talking, just about the knowledge we were getting coming up and some of the jewels that KRS was saying. But as I became a professional MC in the early 2000s, I remember when Nas came out with "I Know I Can Be What I Want to Be,"
Mhm.
and I just thought, man, that's such a dope record, and it has a message to it.
Yeah,
But
just
it's not
that
like,
line, like,
yeah, it's not like it's got a message. Oh, but it's an okay record. So my approach really is to make a dope record,
mhm.
but it's cool to have that other, message behind it. I've got a new song that'll be on the EP called Violas in My Pocket. And it's about having $10 bills of Viola Desmond.
Okay, yeah.
And it's more of like a kind of Swiss beats inspired, like I got violas in my pockets, about to
Mhm.
get a poppin'. But I'm just like, you know what? It's kind of catchy. And I talked to all these kids about Viola Desmond, and everybody watches TikTok nowadays. So what if I do a song that like could get kids rapping about it on TikTok, but it's got a message? So first off, I need that dope beat. You need something catchy, and then I think the rest just comes naturally.
Yeah, someone talented like yourself, you can see it almost like flows out of you.
And I think the other thing is, man, you know, what do you want to rap about nowadays?
There's
Like,
much, yeah.
like I haven't listened to a lot of really great music in the last year. I got to say, it's been like the slowest time for me that I can remember for listening to hip hop because I don't want to just hear the same things being said over and over again.
Hmm.
To speak about Nas, it's like I forget what the name of the song was. I think it's called Rewind. But when he took the movie Memento, which was done like in reverse order, and he told a story in reverse, and I remember just being like, "This is going to be incredible." Reading about it in Double XL magazine, and then like actually hearing the song, and that got me excited.
Hmm.
And so I think it's really important to bring that excitement back to hip hop with not just I'm trying to make money, I'm trying to be a rapper, trying to follow my dreams. Like I've heard that story a million times.
Yeah.
You got to bring a twist. You got to bring something new to it.
Yeah, I actually heard a line recently on a different podcast. I think there's a lot of good music out there, but there's not a lot of great music out there.
Yeah, I agree with that. And it's not that like there isn't that music, but I just find it harder to find now too, right? So,
Hmm.
but shout out Hidden Beats because it's like it helps people discover things. Like when I check you guys out and I find out about this rapper that I might not have known about, or that they've got a new release. So um, we're we're living in a world where there's not much music to turn on, or 106 in Park and Flow 93.5 FM. So it's a little bit harder to find the music nowadays.
And we're only upping our content here. I've got a whole bunch of plans going up for this year for sure.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Now talking about, music and TikTok and thing like that, you got this big school tour coming up. What's the
Yeah.
thought process behind that?
I love going to the schools. I just literally walked in the door from performing in Newmarket, Ontario. And I just love being able to connect with youth because it's the ultimate test to show how real you are.
Hmm. That's for sure.
Because, well, because when you get up there on stage, you got to rock it for an hour. And if you lose them in the first 10 minutes, well, it's a bad thing, right?
Hmm.
So it's like what Guru said on Gangstar. I'm thinking about like he had that line like we got formulas, but we always just update the formulas,
Hmm.
and that's kind of my approach to coming into schools each year. Is I've got a formula that works. Coming into the school, kicking a freestyle, getting everybody's attention, explaining to them the meaning behind Do, defy the odds. There's going to be challenges, you have to overcome them, but then it's also about what can I bring new in there.
Hmm.
And even with a freestyle punchline, it's like, I remember I used to rap about like Donald Trump because that was a popular thing, or
Yeah.
Justin Bieber back then. But now it's like when I say just rapping about Ice Spice and going, rah, like that makes kids go crazy.
Yeah.
So, but you got to update, you got to stay current with the times. So that's one of the things I try to bring every year.
Now kids are ruthless. Have you had someone come up to you and just be like, "Nah, that sucks. Like get out of here. What are you doing?"
I love that, man. Fortunately, I haven't.
Okay, good.
I always used to think that that day would come, though,
Hmm.
especially at high schools.
Oh yeah.
But like the only times, and I don't see it anymore because battling isn't as popular as it used to be.
Hmm.
But you'll get that one kid who's like, my friend wants to battle you. And at first, like I was like, okay, like my real process is, well, I can't battle you because what if I win the battle?
Yeah.
What if I embarrass you right now in front of everybody? Like, does that make me feel better?
Yeah, those optics are horrible.
And then the other thing is, anytime, every single time somebody has wanted to battle me, and I say, how about we just each rap?
Hmm.
They're terrible. Like, like god awful terrible.
Yeah.
Like not even just a little bit, like can barely string two sentences together. However, if there's somebody who comes up and they're like, my boy can rap, he's really good, and that kid is just like shy, like yeah, like, and then they get him to rap or her to rap, almost always like dope.
Yeah.
So it's those shy ones, but it's one of the reasons why I never really want to be a battle rapper because I just don't gain excitement out of making fun of people. Like,
Mhm.
it doesn't do anything for me. So, but yeah, fortunately, I haven't had that bad show moment. You got to be prepared for everything, but I think the main thing is being prepared as far as if the sound goes out, if the mic's not working,
Yeah.
those random things. But because I've done so many shows, I'm able to work my way through it. And I think that's, when people talk about the difference between being a rapper and an MC, I think that's really what comes to MCing is I can never go out at a performance, whether it's at a school or a club, and the mic goes out and I'm just like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Or it's crackly. You make it work. I've done that like in a live audience of 2,000 people at a festival where like, the beats weren't working. And I just get everybody put their hands together and make a beat and kick a freestyle. And by the time that freestyle's done, the music's back working, but
Mhm.
you've won the crowd over.
Yeah, if you can hold their interest for those moments and or at least kinda work around it, it does that much more for your performance in the end.
Yeah, because I think, most people can empathize with you. Like they feel for you. Like
Mhm.
that's a tough situation to be in. So it's about how you handle it. And I just think about sometimes where I've gone to shows and rappers and MCs have been able to fight their way through versus sometimes where, yo, sound man, why you messing me up?
Mhm.
Everybody, you know, cuss out the sound man. It's like,
Yeah.
don't know if that's the best approach right now because if you're trying to finish the set, you don't want to make fun of the sound man.
Well, I've actually pulled people off stage, good like when I'm helping like running shows here in Ottawa.
Mm.
I've had
Hmm.
some kids up there doing stuff like that, and just like, no, you're done. This isn't working. See you later.
Yeah, and sometimes you learn the hard way, but
Mhm.
that's all part of the learning process. And to get back to kind of what we were saying earlier, that's one of the things I feel bad about for MCs coming up nowadays is there's not as many shows, there's not as many open mics, and or just live performances that a lot of artists don't get a chance to cut their teeth.
Mhm.
I love social media. It's great being able to put music out on TikTok and Instagram, but there's nothing that beats performing live. So,
Yeah.
I always encourage artists to get out there and perform every chance they have.
Yeah, thankfully, some of those shows are coming out now. We have Slick
Yeah,
Rick coming to Ottawa. We
yeah,
have D12 coming to Ottawa. Like, we got
yeah.
some fun OGs coming here to kick it for us.
Well, I think for a lot of those OGs, like when they come to Canada, it's one of those places that really appreciates hip hop.
Yeah.
So it's like the word travels back that like, yo, you should go to Canada. Like I think I heard Lloyd Banks say that in an interview where he was just like, yo, Canada's crazy. And
Mhm.
it's not just Toronto, So it's always nice to see when I see like D12 doing all these dates across Canada because it's also given, an artist a chance to open up. A lot
Yeah,
of
exactly.
artists are opening up for Exhibit coming across the country now too, and Ice Cube. And I mean, those are things that are like bucket list moments as rappers. Like I got a chance to open up for Ice Cube. That's
Mhm.
that's dope, man. Like,
Those are gonna be buckets. Like, I plan on going to Ice Cube and Exhibit in
mm,
Casino Rama. Like, that's a bucket list show for me
yeah,
to shoot. Like, I have my wall of hip hop where I've got all these guys like Ludacris and everything I've shot. I gotta those guys are a bucket list for me for sure.
yeah, for sure, man. I mean, like we're having trouble coming out with icons nowadays in hip hop too. So it's
Mhm.
it's nice to see like these legendary MCs still going, still doing it. And like I love Ice Cube, but like with Exhibit, he really hasn't been on the radar a lot for the last several years. But
Mhm.
it's like he's got a great catalog,
Oh, yeah.
and as a personality from Pimp My Ride, like you just he's going to put on a great show. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think maybe I'll see you up in Rama
Yeah, it should be a good one for sure.
for sure. I'll let you know.
Alright. Now, I'm curious what you're hoping kids take away from your music when you're going out to the schools and everything.
Well, first off, is you just really want them to connect with the message, and it doesn't matter if I'm talking about Black Canadian history or anti-bullying or character education. When I tell people my name is Defy the Odds, one of the things I say to describe it is how many of y'all have a dream?
Mhm.
And people put up their hands. And I tell them my dream was to be a rapper. And I show my grade 8 picture. When I graduated, we had a newspaper at our school, and I said, like that's my ambition. But then I say, what did my friends say? go for it. Some of my friends said go for it, but
Hmm.
most of my friends said you can't be a rapper, man. You from Canada.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when I used to say that, everybody would laugh. But now that I say it, people are like, what do you mean? You know, Drake, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So my point to that is, you know, because I came from a small town. So I love when there's a kid who wants to be a rapper or something like that. And they're like, well, he did it and he went through these challenges and I'm going through those. Like, maybe I can do it too. And it's to dream big because, you know, sometimes when you're going through, you know, being an adolescent, being a teenager, it can be a discouraging world.
Hmm.
So it's to give them that little bit of optimism. And then finally, I'm always telling kids surround yourself with good people.
Yeah.
And I talk about how one of my friends, his name is DJ Cub. He was the one doing the concert here last weekend. And he doesn't know how to DJ.
Okay.
And I put on a like a little meme of a GIF, I guess you'd say, of somebody DJing. And I'm like, when I was growing up, being a DJ didn't mean hitting a button on a computer. We
Yeah.
used to have things called turntables.
Hmm.
Now, DJ Cub is not a DJ. He doesn't know how to DJ, but he just wanted to support my dream.
Hmm.
And so when he's coming down to do a concert, he was never even a singer before, but I'm going to go support him. And it's really important to have a tight group of friends. And as you know, in hip hop, we call that your crew.
Yeah.
And when I came to Toronto back in 2001, 2002, I remember meeting with Jellystone. And he came up to me, and Jellystone's an imposing figure. He's a tall guy and,
Hmm.
you know, like really cool guy. But remember, he came up to me and he liked my performance, but he said, who's your crew? And that made me think, like, well, I guess I gotta have a crew.
Hmm.
And so whether you're a rapper or whether you're a teenager, surround yourself with people, like-minded individuals, because you are the sum of the five people you spend the most time with. So choose wisely. And that also goes for social media. Who are you following on social media? Are you following trolls? And I put Takashi 69's picture up there.
Yep.
And I also say I don't like this guy, Andrew Tate,
Hmm.
because there's a lot of youth that are influenced by him.
Hmm.
He has some good points. He's not all bad, but I don't think that's the message you should be hearing.
His delivery
So
sucks. That's the
his
problem.
delivery sucks.
Yeah.
It's this it's an arrogance.
Hmm.
And I don't believe in being arrogant. I don't think that comes off well. And when you give that message to a teenager, like, you want a teenager to be arrogant?
Hmm.
Like, they're already a teenager.
Yeah. They don't need help being an arrogant teenager.
Right? So yeah, I think it's really important to have good role models in your life. I'm just looking out my window because my parents are coming in town. They're flying out to Dominican, so they're staying at my house for a couple of days. But like, I love being able to say my parents are my role models.
Hmm.
But even if you don't have a parent that's your role model, maybe you have an aunt or uncle, or
Yeah.
brother or sister or grandparent. But have some people in your life you can look up to. And cool thing about hip hop is we don't just listen to it and think like this is a dope record. We listen to it and we look up and
Mhm.
idolize rappers, not just because the words they say, but the person, the character that they portray on music. It's the reason why, like, when I'm driving, I love playing Jay-Z, because an old school Jay-Z mostly, because you see that hustler ambition in it.
Yeah.
Um, and that just inspires you to want to hustle. So that I love how kids, I do a name that tune for Black History, and I say I like old school music, and I play some old school. But I asked them, who's your favorite old school artist in
Hmm.
hip hop? And I get two answers all the time. Who do you think most kids say is their favorite old school rapper?
Um, I mean, so I don't even listen to a lot of the new school stuff. I don't have time to it, so I'm trying
Yeah.
to think back.
And these are kids.
Yeah.
So their version of old school is going to be different.
Yeah, exactly. My version of old school goes back, but geez, I don't even know who to think at that point.
It's an easy one, but it's surprising because, I'm doing this in like rural BC.
Hmm.
um, all the way like Nova Scotia, like I said. But number one answer all the time, Eminem.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And number two answer, especially in Toronto, 50 Cent.
Yeah, because he's still all over. He's still doing his thing like
Yeah.
everywhere.
And then, I mean, 50 doesn't release new music either, but he just did that big tour.
Hmm.
Um, but it's cool to see that, like 50 has still been relevant. I would have thought I would have heard more Snoop Dogg's. And I hear that sometimes, but it's amazing the appeal of Eminem. And because really Eminem's music is 25 years old now.
Yeah, like he hasn't done anything in forever, but he's still there.
But it's cool that a lot of kids can relate to him. And at the end of the day, Eminem raps a lot of different things, but his message is similar in the sense like people said I couldn't do it
Hmm.
because I'm white, because I'm poor. And when they made fun of me about that, I said, yeah, so what? And I flipped it back on them. And that is a universal message that I think we all can learn from. And I mean, that's what to me made Eminem, certified him a legend when 8 Mile came out. And people just were like, wow, like we thought he was just like swearing and, no good for the kids, but like
Hmm.
he's a real lyricist.
Yeah, and I mean, you have people in the industry like black legends in the industry going, he's one of the best. Like even though he's a white guy, he's doing it better
Yeah.
than all of us right now.
Well, and I think it's his approach, right?
Hmm.
Like he shows such respect to the craft, and I think that's a really important thing to approach it from that perspective. And again, I think that character is what has brought him through having this legendary career. Where you know, anytime Eminem comes out and does anything, like this weekend, it's going to be like, is he going to the football game for Detroit Lions? But
Hmm.
if he comes to the actual game, people are gonna go nuts.
Oh yeah,
so,
100%.
um, so I love Eminem, man. I grew up around Detroit on the Canadian side, so um, I got nothing but love for him.
Hmm. Now, speaking of movies, we always do some fun questions at the end of
Mhm.
this. We brought up 8 Mile. I'm
Yeah.
curious, who plays you in the movie of your life?
Ooh, that's a good one. um, it's always tough to say because it's like I'd love to say The Rock, but I think he'd have to put on some weight. Couldn't work out in the gym for a while. Um, But you know what? I'm gonna go with somebody that somebody said I look like, and I didn't really think so. But we were talking about 50 Cent, Power, and Tyreek. Somebody
Okay.
said they remind me that of Tyreek reminds them of me. So, you'd want to have it from a kind of that younger perspective. So I go with yeah, I don't even know the actor's real name, but
Hmm.
Tyreek from Power. It's the first one that comes to my head.
I mean, I guess I can see it too. Makes some
Hmm.
sense.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, here's a fun one because we're talking about schools and things like that. I'm curious, what does the Dio Gibson action figure come with as accessory?
Mm. Well, there's always got to be a mic.
Yeah.
um, Trying to think of what else. I don't have one on right now, but I like buying cool chains.
Okay.
Because when I did a song with Classified, our first song together, I said it wasn't for the fame. The reason why I got into the game wasn't to add a few dollars to my name. Only wanted to come spit flames, be like Rock Kim and rock a fat gold chain. But now few things change.
Hmm.
So I when I was in Nova Scotia visiting the museum for Birchtown, where the blacks went to Nova Scotia, I bought a cool, just locally made chain. And so I think the chain would be, or a necklace, I should say, really, would be something else that would have to come with that.
Okay, I like that. That's good. Now, couple last questions before we finish off here. I'm curious, what is an accomplishment that you are like? What is one of the accomplishment you're striving for? You've done a lot in your career as it is now, but do you have a goal that you're still really pushing for?
I'm trying to do a TV show.
Okay.
So, you know, because I'm talking about Black history so much, I thought it would be cool to do a TV show where I go to different cities in Canada that have Black history and I talk to people in the community, whether it's a local leader, whether it's touring a museum, whether it's going to a local restaurant. And that's a big dream of mine that I really want to get off the ground in the next few years. I know it's not something that happens overnight, but just chipping away towards that, because I love going out to these communities in Canada. And the thing is, like, when people always say, like, "Do, where are you from?" Like, where are you really from?
Mm-hmm.
And they expect me to say, the Caribbean, or, where do black people come from? But I tell them, I was born in Saskatchewan, and my dad's from Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, and I'm a sixth generation black Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
So I would love to be able to tell stories about other black Canadians. And then what I would do at the end of the show is the wrap up.
Yeah.
So I would just do like a little freestyle rap about the city and the community and the people I met and some of the unique things that I know there, because there's just a wealth of that knowledge, whether you're talking about Halifax or Cape Breton or Chatham or Buxton, Ontario, even Hogan's Alley in Vancouver. I think that would make for a cool TV show. So, hopefully some people at Netflix are tuned into this.
Mm-hmm.
Holla at me.
Actually, so if that does happen, let me know. I got someone for you to talk to here in Ottawa.
Oh, dope.
Yeah,
That'd be
I
great.
think it'd be pretty. It'd fit that vibe for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my last question. Well, actually, I guess because Zoom's going to kick us off here shortly.
Right. Yeah, I just noticed that.
Yeah. So I guess we'll end it off like this, and we'll have to save the next one for round 3. Then is most important. Are you happy?
Am I happy? Ooh, we're getting
Mm-hmm.
deep right now. We only got 3 minutes left.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm blessed. And, when I go to these school shows, they play a clip of me on eTalk. And one of the things I say, well, I play it from my laptop. I say, I wake up every morning, I feel blessed to be able to talk about Black Canadian history and my family's history.
Mm-hmm.
And when I look at that video, it just, all of a sudden, it just hits me right now. Like, I'm getting to live my dream. I'm doing this every day. And so there's no days where I feel like, oh, I have to go perform again.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I'm tired, I'm like, a little tired, but I get a chance to do this again. Like, that 16-year-old in me would be so proud of myself that I'm still doing it. And I'm happy because I've remained true to my character. I believe that I never sold out per se, that I'm not rapping about things that don't make sense to me just so that it can make me go viral. So happiness to me is just being content, being who I am, being able to travel this country and see friends and family everywhere I go.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's a perfect way to finish off today, and all about happiness in the end.
All about happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, man, it was great to catch up with you again, and I know we're gonna have to do this more because I seriously have another half a page worth of stuff on here we can talk about just from today alone. So, well, we'll definitely have to do this again sometime.
Well, you know what? It'll be fitting because this is my EP, Songs of Freedom,
Mm-hmm.
Black History theme. But in the spring, summer, I'm dropping a new album, and it's called Just to Finish the Story.
Okay.
So it's like, we've done 2 times, but just to finish the story, we got to do a third one.
100%. All right, man. We'll
Oh,
sign
yeah.
off and we'll keep in touch for sure.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
You too, man. Enjoy your day.
Oh, yeah.